So we have talked about how there's this disconnect with Israel and the United States that seems to be going on. And there's been some free speech that has been coming out from, you know, big name MAGA, all right? Make America Great Again people, like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, myself, Scott McKay. Scott McKay got a lot of pushback when he talked about the Khazarian Mafia. He got hit pretty hard, right? They're even on national news talking about how he was anti-Semitic and so forth. I am definitely not anti-Semitic. I have lots of beautiful Jewish friends. So what is it that it seems to be going on with this discussion? Now, I think this discussion goes back hundreds, if not thousands, well, definitely thousands of years, because we go all the way back to the time of Jesus Christ. And we know that Jesus Christ, for Christians, is basically, what everybody focuses on in Christianity. He's the guy, right? But he was not a Christian. He was Jewish, right? And we know that the Jewish people are, at least the leadership of the Jewish people, kind of like Israel today, decided that he needed to die. He needed to be crucified. And so he was taken, flailed, and had to drag us across through the streets of, Israel, whatever, and go to the Mount of Olives and where he was crucified, right? And the Romans were not the ones that did it, because Pontius Pilate was like, hey, seems like to be a good guy. Why do you guys want to crucify him? How about this other guy, that's a thief and all that kind of stuff? And they're like, no, we would rather have Jesus, Yeshua, ben Joseph crucified, because he turned over the money tables, right, in the temple. And he was also against basically slaughtering animals in the temple and all that kind of stuff. So we know that they're still doing all these things, right? They want to sacrifice the red heifer, the perfect red heifer. That seems to be like the thing that's going to activate the new temple. So they want to build a new temple. And of course, the Muslims aren't so happy about that. And that was some people have said that's the reason why Hamas basically came across the border on October 7th of, what, year or two ago, whatever it was. And now we're hearing that the Israelis are going to, or they have practiced sacrificing the heifer, the red-haired, perfect heifer, right? So I guess they got three of them. They came from someplace, excuse me, in Texas, and it seems to be a point of contention for Muslims and Israelis. But what is this all about? Of course, we can look back in biblical times where the people of the Israelis, coming with Moses through the desert for 40 years, and eventually, came back to the land of Judea and reestablished themselves. I guess they've been there before. So there's contention of like who was there first. If we take that who's there first, then we got to go with the Palestinians, all right? And we could look at America. Who was there first? The American Indians, right? So this argument about who was there first and who deserves to have the land, I don't think that fits, right? So now the tribes of Abraham were scattered. The 12 tribes of Abraham were scattered, and they live pretty much all over the world. There is I think it's a Cherokee, or somewhere in America, there's this ancient stone that they found that basically has the 10 Commandments on it. And so it appears that there were the tribes that went all over the world, and that's what we've heard. So did they settle in other places, and now they want to go back to, be in Israel? That seems to be the thing. But we also know that the Rothschilds, who are definitely Khazarian mafia types, and if we go all the way back to when Jesus was crucified, I believe they were Khazarian mafia types that were in the leadership roles. The Rothschilds, obviously, when Napoleon lost at Waterloo, the Rothschilds became the owners of the Bank of England, pretty much, and England itself, because they basically spread a lie that Napoleon had won. So everybody sold in the stock market, and they bought at a cheap price, and then the news came in that Napoleon actually lost. So then the stock prices went up, and now the Rothschilds, through their illegal activities, are now holding the bag. And I guess the King of England at the time was cool with that, because it's like, yeah, I get easy money now, and that's the way the Rothschilds have been. So this money, the money changers, going all the way back to the temple again, with Jesus throwing over the tables. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So we have the money changers, basically the Federal Reserve banks throughout the world, all throughout the world. It's the Khazarian mafia. All right. So the money changers need to start turning over those money tables again. All right. So that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing basically a pushback against that. And this place in Israel, where these people claim they have the right to this place so they can slaughter everybody that's there. It's bullshit, right? It seems to be that's kind of what happened here in America too. We claim this land it didn't really belong to anybody, I guess. So, the Indians fought as much as they could, and eventually they were pushed into reservations. Same thing happened in Canada. Same thing happened in Australia. Same thing, I guess, same thing. I haven't really looked at New Zealand, but other countries, but it's probably the same thing, guys. This global group that's very negative, that's psychopathic, is trying to take over the world. We know that in our community, we know that, but there's this crazy stuff that's going on. These people that are trying to expose it are being attacked by people within supposedly the MAGA community that are supposed to be all good. We're all like working together, right? Doesn't seem that way. Seems like we have some issues, and there are people that we're finding out within the MAGA community that were paid millions of dollars to promote this. I call it pretty much a lie, because if you look at history and you look at the Bible and so forth, I mean, you can manipulate anything you want from the Bible, right? You can twist it and turn it any way you want, all right, to a certain extent. There's certain people that do that with the Constitution of the United States, right? It's called the, you have all these lawyers and so forth that come in and say, this is the way the Constitution reads. And then the Supreme Court says, yes, this is the way it reads. No, the Supreme Court doesn't have any say in the Constitution either. It's cut and dry, right? So when you have people that come in and basically start to manipulate information, well, it was like, translated from Aramaic to, the Greek, and then the Greek to English, and on, King James Bible. So you got the room for misinterpretation, for one. Two, you have the room for manipulating that information, which absolutely happened. That's been proven. And then you have the room for people to come in and just claim bullshit, like we're seeing from Israel right now. Bibi, he wants truthers to come out and spread lies. That's bullshit, right? So there's people out here that are putting out information that is false. That is false, right? We need to basically popcorn's getting expensive now, Keith. Keith, that's good. Because so many people are eating it. Yeah, this is like, this is exciting. Now we're talking about this, Israel for last, right? And here we are, we're talking about it. So let's look at a little bit of this. Let's go down this little bit of a rabbit hole. It is very interesting to basically expose this stuff. And sometimes you got to turn over the money changer tables and see what happens. All right. Hopefully you don't get crucified for it, right? So that's what we're doing tonight. So let's look at, of course, we'll talk about other things, but let's look at this right now from Candace Owens. So this is the AI overview. I just said Candace Owens on Israel. And it said Candace Owens' recent comments on Israel, which began after the October 7th, 2023. So we're coming up, we're just a few days away, 4 days away from the anniversary of that date. The Hamas attacks. Now, it seems like we may, after 2 years, have peace. Because President Trump put in and I'll talk about that in a minute, President Trump put in a 20-point plan for peace, and it looks like Hamas is moving that direction. And President Trump has said that Israel needs to stop bombing because Hamas is ready to basically give up power, which is one of their stipulations. And so we'll see what happens, guys. So wouldn't that be interesting if on the day that supposedly they attack, which I think is big time bullshit, on October 7th, and there was like another attack by, I guess, Muslims on October 7th, like the 6-Day War or something like that, same date, 50 years ago, whatever craziness. So this thing about these numbers and dates. So that's why we have to look at October as being potentially problems. Now, I don't think that October is going to be that much of a problem unless we have some severe activity with earthquakes. But other than that, as far as like the political and war realm and all that kind of stuff, I think we're going to see stuff in November, right? So end of October, November is where I think things are going to heat up, because you're looking at Germany for the first time since World War II has moved tank battalions, Panther tanks. All right, Panzer, not Panther, Panzer. I think they have Panther tanks too, but Panzer tanks down to the border of Ukraine and Poland. And there's an army brigade that's there as well with tanks and stuff. Very fishy, all right? So we have to be very careful going forward, which way this is going to go. So anyway, criticism of Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu. She calls it a cult nation. Owens posted a video claiming that Israel is a cult nation and a cult. And we'll talk a little about that. Calling the Star of David a hexagram, right? A cultic symbol. Genocidal ambitions and Holocaust, conspiracy theories, annexation and war. So she goes into a lot of stuff. She's been going off. She's also been going off on the Charlie Kirk, stuff. So she's a firecracker right now. But let's have free speech here. Let's have a discussion on this. It's not cut and dry. Charlie Kirk is definitely not cut and dry. I exposed that within an hour or so after that shooting. It's like, that's bullshit, right? So now everybody's pretty much looking at it. It's like, yeah, that's bullshit. Now everybody's finally figuring it out. And so we're having a discussion on that. There's discussion seems about every day how crazy it is. Even the people that I've seen in the truther community that always take the whatever line there is that's being pushed out there. Even they are starting to question. So this is good. This is a good thing, right? So let's look at some other aspects of this. This actually, well, wait a minute. Let's go down here and look at one of Candace's. Here we go.
These characters are just being inserted into places to serve Israel. That makes Israel the master of the universe. And that's troubling. This is a state that has a hexagram on their flag, okay? They're even lying about the history of the Star of David. It's a hexagram. It's a cult. You can't just wipe that away. It's not even a long time ago. There's tons of books. It's showing you that that's a hexagram. What are you pretending? It's a cultic. Yeah, you're just another array trying to wipe it. You're like, nope, that's not. That is a religious. No, it's a hexagram.
So hexagram is a 6-pointed star formed by 2 overlapping equilateral triangles, representing the union of opposites like spirit and matter. The term also refers to the 64 symbolic hexagrams in the I Ching Book of Changes, which consists of 6 blah, 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 right? So some people see this as some kind of devil worship type thing, right? Hexagram I Ching. So, I mean, again, you can take this information just like 666 and you can, it's just numbers, right? And you can like, well, that's demonic. 666 is demonic now. It used to be just 666. Like in my channels, I remember as my channels grow, they go past numbers that have 666. And then people come in and they used to, I don't think they do anymore because everybody's like over all that silliness. They would say, look at that. Yeah, he's demonic. Yeah, that's a number 666. That's a number before. There's a number before that number. It's 665. And then there's a number that is 667. So that number that you're seeing right now won't last very long because I keep adding subscribers. Right. So, but people are they're going to say what they're going to say, right? Can anyone explain the meaning of the hexagram? So this is Reddit. Let's see what Reddit says. It says, or point me in the direction. So here's another one. So there's all this stuff on it. You go, like I said, down any rabbit hole you want with this stuff. The hexagram generally means the unity of God and man when the powers of the material world are harmonized with those of the spiritual world. So, I mean, is that cultish? Is that cultish? It's just like, I mean, again, you could say it's cultish because it doesn't fit your paradigm of whatever exists. So it's tough. It's a tough one, all right? Because we know the Nazis have that, Nazi symbol, but that's also the symbol that the Buddhists use. So, I mean, yeah, you can take it either way you want. All right. So that's her free speech to talk about that. Can we go back in history and see that on the Israeli flag from back during Moses' time? Or so is it new? Is it an old symbol? Is it on old walls? All right. Or something. So I don't know. You can go down, like I said, any rabbit hole you want with that. Now, let's listen to Tucker Carlson, because Tucker is kind of like Candace. He's trying to slay this dragon, right? That's a negative dragon, because there can be some good positive dragons. So this is in my Telegram. So I share stuff in Telegram. It's Michael K. Jaco. And I have that. I was in this one guy's house in Sedona that's been on a lot of shows. I'm not going to say his name because he didn't give me the right to do that. But there's like there's statuary and so forth from Egypt, and I'm wearing a shirt that says "Wakey Wakey," right? So it's perfect. it's like, you can look at some of this stuff from Egypt and go, oh, it's demonic. Or you can say, that's some of the, I believe a lot of that stuff from Egypt is what we're seeing right now. Because where did the Jews were in Israel for a long, or were in Egypt, still are, and some of them left, right? Some of them stayed. So you can look at this stuff and say what you want, but it is what it is. You can make it into a negative, or you can make it into a positive. Now we can look at what's going on with Israel right now, with a lot of senators and congressmen and so forth having dual passports to Israel. That's a negative. That's a negative by any stretch of any standard that's out there. No other country, although maybe there's one other, I think there's one other country other than the United States that allows its Congress or its people that are in political realms to have the passport of another country. It's ridiculous, because basically you're showing alliance to another country when you do that. So it shouldn't be allowed, but it is. And, we have, as you're going to see in this Tucker Carlson message, Tucker Carlson has a message for Christians. You're going to see Lindsey Graham basically take this other side that's extreme, that we have to be completely aligned with Israel. Otherwise, God is going to strike us down.
And the last thing that I think we need to do to restore balance between the relationship between the United States and Israel, and to restore some sanity, and the last thing that I think we need to do to restore balance between the relationship between the United States and Israel.
So I don't know why it won't play, but hopefully it will.
And the last thing that I think we need to do to restore balance between the relationship between the United States and Israel, and to restore some sanity.
All right, let me get out of Telegram. Let me go over to, because it's not working the way I want it to. Right. All right, so I'm gonna pull up, go over to, let me see my X account, and I have it over there as well. So let me go over there. I think it's going to work a little bit better over there. Telegram, when I hit it, it blows up and won't let me see what's going on the screen. So I don't know if it's actually getting the sound out or not. So here we go. I'm going over to X, and Tucker will play over there. All right.
There is no chosen people. The chosen people are people who choose Jesus. That is the Christian message right there. It's not an anti-Semitic message, by the way. It's the Christian message. It's the core Christian message. And yet there are many self-described representatives of the Christian faith who are daily sending a different, not Christianity, it is heresy. And among the many examples we could pick, we're going to go with Lindsey Graham.
A word of warning. If America pulls the plug on Israel, God will pull the plug on us.
God will kill you if you don't support Bibi Netanyahu. That's what he's saying. He will pull the plug on you like a quadriplegic in intensive care. You're going to flatline unless you support the secular abortion-on-demand government of Israel. That's the Christian perspective, really. That God loves some people more because of their DNA, that is not the Christian message.
Okay, so he says abortion on demand, Israel. And we know we threw that off, and I think that was an abomination. And I think that's an abomination that Israel's doing. And we're also seeing Israel, they don't believe in Jesus. Jews do not believe in Jesus, guys. There's some that recognize him, but they don't follow him. They don't recognize him. So why, as a Christian, would you be promoting that? It doesn't make sense. And I'm not saying that, the United States is all Christian. We accept all religions. We have Jews, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we have Christians, we have, you name it, American Indian, beliefs, all. We have it all here. And that's the way it should be. But if you are a Christian, and there seems to be lots of Christians within America that seem to be strangely aligned with Israel on a very, very strange level. All right. And that's not me making some strange observation. That's a fact. Right. And that's pushed very hard. So we do know there is this group called Khazari Mafia, and they do quite evil things, like I've talked about in the beginning of the show. All right. And so for Christians who Christianity is based off of Christ's teachings, to basically go with the group that I think killed Jesus, Khazari Mafia, which I believe is in Israel, the Zionist, then we're going down the wrong road. We're supporting the wrong side, right? And they're pushing that very, very hard. And they're in everything. We already know that. They're in Hollywood. They're in the music industry. They're in the banking system. So I don't see this as being a positive whatsoever. I see people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens that's opening up a conversation on this as very healthy, right? So for them to be attacked as anti-Semitic, which is happening, it sounds to me like those people that came after Jesus in the temple after he turned over the tables, guys. Same group, I believe. Same group.
That's the opposite of the Christian message. The Christian message is universal. That's the whole point of it. The chosen people in Christianity are those who choose Jesus. The entire New Testament is that story. And anyone who says otherwise has not read it or is lying.
So we're told that God has a chosen people and as the Jewish race, and they belong in Israel. And so we should bow to them. Negative, right? Negative. This is wrong thing, and it needs to change, right? If we're to be a free republic here in the United States, we can't be going off into this other realm and expecting them to give us our marching orders, unless you're Lindsey Graham followers and you believe that, right? This is not good. That we need a break from that. They can do whatever they want in their Israel land, and the Balfour Agreement that all those groups came up with to put them there. I think Woodrow Wilson was part of that as well. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I don't agree with it whatsoever. But some people do, obviously, within high levels of world control. All right. And I guess they like that there, just like they liked, the control that they had in Ukraine. The bioweapon labs in Ukraine, the human trafficking in Ukraine, the money laundering in Ukraine. They're fighting for that. They're fighting for Israel. What is that? I think it's corrupt. I think it's negative. It's a negative for the world, and it's a centralized location for world domination and control of religion. So not going to. And if you're a Christian, Israel is Jewish, and like I said, the Jews have their own religion. I respect that completely, but we shouldn't bow to them, which it seems like I'm talking about, we're doing. And kind of like remember Black Lives Matter and all those people that were taking a knee during Black Lives Matter? Now that we have a new FBI director, he just fired everybody and the FBI that took a knee to Black Lives Matter. So it's the same thing with Israel, guys. There should be no knee being taken to Israel or any other religion or country. America is freedom of religion, and it shouldn't be, aligned with any. Now, I've heard a lot of people, Fox News hosts and so forth, that said they keep saying that America is a Christian nation. No, America is a nation of all religions. So don't get into this trap. Don't get into this trap of Israel, or if you're a Christian, if you're a Jewish, if you're whatever your religion, or if you don't believe in any God, that's fine too. It's up to you. There's freedom here in America to do that. And we can have a great conversation about any religion, but fighting for another religion, which seems to be something that America has been doing for Israel, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
There is no chosen people. The chosen people are people who choose Jesus.
All right, there you go. And we've seen that has been muddied and diluted. And anyone that doesn't agree with all of, the, I guess, political class, because we just had our political class celebrate a religion, right? Now, they also celebrate Christianity. Do we celebrate Islam? Do we celebrate Hinduism? Do we celebrate American Indian religions? No. But we just had, just like I said, the people in Congress, they could not vote for the last couple days until today. They didn't vote for it again, for a resolution on spending for the American government. They couldn't do it for a couple of days because they had a Jewish holiday they were celebrating. What? Things have gone. They've gone too far. They've gone too far here. There needs to be some serious reins pulled back on this horse, because it's gone off in a wrong direction. Wrong direction. Yeah, some of you are like, what? Exactly. Like, what? When I heard that, I was like, what? Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. No. And like, I don't know, 60, 70% of them have passports to Israel. And we just had during the summer break, hundreds of congressmen and women went to Israel on Israel's dime. They paid all expenses. That seems like conflict of interest to me, doesn't it? Some problems here. All right. Who are our politicians serving? American people or the Jewish people? All right. Hamas says it agrees to release all hostages after Trump's ultimatum. Hamas agreed to some terms in the U.S. president's Gaza peace plan, but sought more negotiation on others. So U.S. President Trump's 20-point peace plan, it has agreed to release all hostages. And so President Trump said, based on the statement just issued by Hamas, I believe they are ready for a lasting peace. Islam is the religion of peace. Now, I know a lot of you have come in and made comments that nowhere in the Quran is love. So to be quite frank with you, love is the strongest force in the universe. But on a vibrational consciousness level, peace is actually above love, guys. All right? So don't knock that religion. Right? There's manipulations that happen in all religions, and it has been going on for thousands of years. Just like those guys that decided that Jesus Christ, or that's not really his name. He was a Christed man, but Yeshua ben Joseph was out of line, so they had him crucified, right? Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. I tell you, I've heard a lot of stuff on the Israeli military. A lot of people give them, well, they're protecting Israel from these savages, right? So anyway, there are rules of conduct in every war, and I think the Israelis have gone over the line quite a bit, right? This is about long-sought peace in the Middle East, Trump goes on to say. Trump followed up with a video message on Truth Social later today, thanking the Mideastern nations that work with the United States on this deal, including Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt. We'll see how it all turns out, Trump said in the video message. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Now, why does it have to be in concrete? Because there's a lot of these groups here, they're going to manipulate the words. Just like I talk about the Bible words, all right? They get manipulated, guys. So it has to be concrete. The wording has to be perfect so that some groups don't take this and manipulate it. I've seen this so much when I was overseas, as a Navy SEAL and then working for the CIA. There's so much manipulation in the words. He said this, she said that. This is why we're doing this. It's just a real crappy show out there, right? So concrete, everybody agrees, and it gets concrete, kind of like the Constitution of the United States that's concrete, but keeps getting brutalized by the Supreme Court and other lawyers and states with agendas and all kind of crazy stuff, like California that keeps restricting gun rights. Second Amendment. Why do we have the Second Amendment? So that we have guns in case, like Israel and like a lot of other countries, if the government gets out of control, gets out of line, because in Israel, they force vaccinated everybody on a massive scale. It was brutal what they did. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the people in Israel are pushing back on Netanyahu. All right. So here in the United States, to try to go that route. And what happened? Biden basically said, we're going to start coming into homes and vaccinating people that haven't been vaccinated yet. And then the word went back, come try it. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. That's right. That wasn't a good idea. And that's where it stopped, guys, because they pushed it. Businesses, corporations, the government, military, everybody was getting vaccinated. They were forced vaccinating. Schools, you go to school, you got to get vaccinated. You work in medical community, you're going to get vaccinated. They were vaccinating everybody. There's people leaving the medical community. There's people leaving the military. There's people leaving corporations, but there's a lot that didn't, and they got vaccinated. And then they're like, oh, well, let's go after those people that left and live, and they're in their homes thinking they're safe. And it's like, Second Amendment. Come try it. All right. So this Constitution gets brutalized all the time, and it needs to stop. Right? That's what these clowns that are in the political realm keep doing, not just in our government, the U.S. government, but also in these states. And we're seeing in New York, Illinois, California, Washington State, Oregon, right? And then a lot of cities that are demon rat controlled. We're seeing them brutalize the Second Amendment. And they want the First Amendment. They want to come after that too. They really came after those of us that were putting out the truth. Remember during, the Biden administration, they brutalized free speech. So we had the First Amendment hammered, and then they were coming after. They wanted the Second Amendment. They kept talking about, these weapons. It's like assault rifle. Well, that's pretty broad, but not every rifle is an assault rifle. Sometimes they're used for hunting, on and on and on. But they do these broad strokes, and they try and make things that are concrete that aren't. So we go right back to the Constitution. Americans can have all the guns they want to make sure their government does just get out of line. That's why it's there, period. And if they need to form up into militias to fight, that's what they're going to do. And that's what we did during the Revolutionary War. And we can also make ships, because there were ships that actually fought. American raiders, I forget what they called them, but Americans put together cannons on ships and, muskets and everything, and went after British ships. It's unbelievable. All right. So that was because we recognized that we needed to have the right to use our own weaponry, right, against a corrupt government. And that's what has gone forward till today. But they're constantly trying to take it away. Constantly. All right. So we're coming up on, speaking of, free speech, First Amendment, and then we have the right to vote, right? Who has the right to vote? Is it an American citizen? Does an illegal alien that comes into America that gets, a driver's license or Social Security card from the deep state, do they have the right to vote too? They shouldn't, but they have been in Democrat hellholes so that they can stay in power and eventually get to the point where we have just a one world government, right? So in New Jersey and Virginia, we're going to see what's going to happen. We're going to see if they're going to steal those elections. We have Republicans that are very strong, but we're seeing the media, because I see both sides of the media that are pushing, for, if you're leftist media, which is most of it, then you're pushing for the Democrat candidate, and you're trying to make the Republican candidate look like crap. And you're saying that Donald Trump is not respected, he is not liked. That's the thing that they go for all the time. And now they're going to say, yeah, this shutdown is Republicans. The Republicans say it's the Democrats that are causing this. And the Democrats are saying it's the Republicans' fault. But bottom line, it's the Democrats that want to give free health care to illegal aliens. Period. That's what they're stuck on. So that they will get their votes, right? It's not good. It's not good. So we're going to see, where is America? Is America still, stuck on bad Dems? Are they still going to vote for bad Dems, right? So we're going to see in November, Virginia and New Jersey. So it's you guys in Virginia, New Jersey, man, we're counting on you. Get in there and do the right thing and make sure there's no stealing the vote, because these clown towns will come in and try to steal the vote. That's the only way they can get in power, in my opinion. Democrats, that is. All right, Trump reverses Homeland Security funding cuts targeting New York. President Trump said Friday he had reversed cuts his administration attempted to make to Homeland Security and counterterrorism funding for New York City and the state. Right? I am pleased to advise that I reversed the cuts. So he reversed those cuts, but he came in and he cut billions. The administration announced Wednesday it was freezing. And this is, of course, when the Democrats decided not to vote on continuing resolution on the funding the government. So he's like, okay, you knuckleheads, freezes $18 billion in federal funding for infrastructure projects in New York City. It's just like in California, guys. It's money laundering. It's like the bullet train in California that's way over cost, way over time where it's supposed to be finished. And it's just they wanted the federal government to keep dumping money into it. And President Trump said no more. So he's doing the same thing in New York City, citing concerns about diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. So he's not going to fund these green energy projects, guys, because it is a waste. And we're seeing that he just opened up, I put hundreds of millions of dollars into opening up coal. So coal is one of the cheapest forms of electricity. Yes, it can be, clean. How clean is these windmills that have all of the stuff that goes into them? Manufacturing these windmills, and they last maybe 20 years, and then what happens to all of that, metal and everything? So it gets wasted. So it's not clean. These windmills and solar power and all that kind of stuff. I think solar power is pretty good. Right? It's come a long way. But there's a lot of stuff that these greenies want, and we know they money launder this all the way back to Obama. It's been a whole money laundering green scam all the way back to him. So there was a large fire. All right. Speaking of energy, there was a large fire erupted at Los Angeles area Chevron refinery in El Segundo. So we know that we have a very, very corrupt governor in California, Newsom, and Newsom he doesn't want that. And so you go over to California, buy a gallon of gas, it's $2 more than in Nevada. $2 a gallon more. I was like, I went over to Louis Herms. I did an event. So I'm in California because he's going to be the California governor, hopefully turn around a lot of this bullshit. And I was like, I got enough to get there. I got enough to get back. So I get just over the border into Nevada. And I saw that I pointed out to my wife, look at that. Over $7 a gallon for gas for premium. And then I came over and it was a little over $5 for a gallon, but I can get it for a lot less. Cause that was in Lake Tahoe on the waterfront. So I go to Costco and it's like $3.89 or something a gallon. So I just got enough, to get me to Costco. So pay a lot less. And when I lived in South Lake Tahoe, I would once every 10 days, 10 days, I'm going to drive down to Costco, get my food and gas up, and I'm good for the rest of the week or so on gas. And I would save enough to buy a couple chickens, So I get 2 free chickens every time I went to Costco instead of, fueling up in California. And now it's even worse. I'm like, are you kidding me? How could it get worse? It's way worse. It's pathetically worse. Now I can get 5 chickens. 5. What the hell is going on in California? It's pathetic. So large fire. This is probably going to drive up the cost of fuel even more. Because a lot of these refineries and a lot of these companies are leaving California because of regulation. And businesses are leaving California, which used to be in and of itself, I think at one time, like the 8th largest economy in the world. Right? It's like, it was crazy. I don't think it's there or even close now, but I'd have to look it up. But California's failing. The Democrats have killed the state, killed it in more ways than one. The ridiculousness with the environment. It's like, leave the environment alone, let it go natural. No one ever in history has allowed the environment to just go natural, because if you do that, plants overgrow themselves. Deadfall creates these massive conflagrations, which we've seen in California, which California has burned unbelievably. I did the Pacific Crest Trail, and a lot of people don't realize how much is burned back in the wilderness. There's almost no wilderness left in California. It's insane, right? And Trump came out in his first administration saying, hey, you guys need to start cleaning up the deadfall, right? Let me give you some money to clean up the deadfall. And California took it and didn't do it. They just took the money like they do everything else. Corrupt as hell. So we're going to see California either completely fail or some tsunami come in and just take California out because it's godless, right? And earthquakes destroy it because it's godless, right? We're gonna find out about godlessness, right? And probably Israel will too. So that's where we're going. We're moving in that direction. So California is a failed state, right? Failed state. And it's unless we get somebody like Lewis Herms in there, it's going to be bad. It will probably collapse completely. In the next election, the midterm, when I think it's California's midterm, then we're going to either see California go to someone like Lewis Herms, or we're going to see California completely collapse. No question. California will not survive another Democrat. It will not survive it. It will be completely and utterly destroyed. Now, I did a show earlier with Lewis. Quick update on what he's doing. He went to Paradise. I'm going to go to Paradise, where they had that burn, direct injury weapon burn. I'm going to go check it out. It's like 6 or 7 years later now. And Lewis Herms says he's got a lot of info on that. They're still suppressing information there. So unbelievable. Yeah, Valerie, definitely. Prayers for Lewis, and God's got this. So I hope so. Prayers. So prayers for Lewis. Lewis is by far the best candidate, but they're trying to suppress him on a massive level. Massive suppression. You got to know I knew that was going to happen to him. He's got some people that have deep pockets that want to help fund him. And they're kind of like skittish because of all the suppression that's going into him right now. So I don't know. So yeah, he definitely needs God's protection. So definitely pray for Lewis. I do. 19th Amendment. So 19th Amendment, for those of you who don't know, was the right for women to vote, right? And it took a long time. It took a long time to get that through. And why was that? Why was that? Democrats, Southern Democrats, the ones that started the Civil War, they didn't want women to have the vote because they felt that blacks would be given the right to vote. But as it turned out, because a lot of blacks supported the Republicans, black men got the vote before white women, right? Interesting, right? So same thing. It's the Democrats, guys. Democrats have done this for a long time, yet people still go with the Democrat Party. It's unbelievable to me. Said so many times the Democrat Party is going to go away. And what's going to make it go away? Because people are going to awaken and say, this is an effed up party that wants to have us all enslaved and vaccinated. Right? What the heck? Wow. Talk about consciously compromised. I say it like every show, it seems like now, right? So, Democrats. All right, so it went on and on and on. Democrats, when they finally got the vote through in 1919, the amendment passed the Senate in 1919. 20 Democrat senators voted in favor, along with 36 Republicans. A lot more Republicans. And the Southern Democrats abstained or voted nay. So there was a lot of them. And that was the way it was for a long time. So a significant obstacle to the 19th Amendment. And there's so many women that support the Democrat Party. Do you guys not know your history? A significant obstacle to the 19th Amendment came from Southern Democrats who feared a federal amendment would give the federal government power to enforce voting rights. Right? This opposition was rooted in racist ideology, as many Southern Democrats feared that enfranchising women would open the door to increase Black voter turnout. So now they went after the Black race in the South. It's like, you want to vote Republican? Where did the Ku Klux Klan come from? Who started the Ku Klux Klan? Southern Democrats. Yet they keep saying it's Republicans that are Ku Klux Klan type. It's always been Southern Democrats. Democrats. Always. The original Ku Klux Klan was founded by Confederate veterans, and its activities, Confederate, Southern Democrats, and its activities were closely aligned with political goals of Southern Democrats during the Reconstruction era. The Klan served as a paramilitary force for the Democrat Party. And they still do, right? Although they do it undercover. And the Democrat Party says, oh, look at those Republicans. They're Ku Klux Klanners. It came from the Democrat Party. And they still are mostly aligned with the Democrat Party. Origin. The first Ku Klux Klan was established in Pulaski, Tennessee, in 1865 by 6 former Confederate officers. Initially, it was a social club, right? But soon ended up evolving into a white supremacist terrorist organization. So, kind of like what we're seeing with Antifa and BLM. It's the same thing to me. It's another arm of the Democrat Party. So, leadership, former Confederate General Nathaniel Bedford Forrest became the first Grand Wizard. Right? So, and to organize the Klan across the South. Purpose. Klan's main objective was to counter the policies of the Republican-led federal government during Reconstruction, which was basically giving freedoms to Black Americans. Yet Black Americans will say for most part, they're Democrats. How did that turn? Because the Klan started coming after the Republican Blacks and started burning crosses in their lawns and hanging them, finding excuses to hang them in trees as basically a message to everybody else. You better come back and be a slave to the Democrat Party, right? So that's what we have now. We have, you know, a great majority of blacks are slaves of the Democrat Party, right? They vote Democrat Party almost exclusively, and they're basically kept in slavery. They're in social programs built by the Democrats to keep them enslaved. Women that have lots of kids get more and more money as long as there's no man in the house. So they broke up the black family. I remember when I was a kid growing up, black men were strong. They were strong. They had good families, right? But they started coming after them, right? So it's sad, but people still don't understand that the Democrats are trying to destroy America again. They want to enslave us all. And that's what we're seeing in places like Portland. That's what we're seeing in places like LA. That's what we're seeing in places like New York City, Chicago, on and on and on, guys. These cities will probably be the last bastion of the Democrat Party. They will fight to the end in those cities, probably. That's what a lot of us see. All right. So FBI cuts all ties to Southern Poverty Law Center. The FBI has confirmed that starting to cut all of this Democrat slavery bullshit out, guys. This communist slavery, globalist bullshit. The Southern Poverty Law Center long ago abandoned the civil rights work and turned into a partisan smear machine. FBI Director Kash Patel told the Daily Signal in a statement Friday, their so-called hate map has been used to defame mainstream Americans and even inspired violence. It's like Republicans, conservatives, Nazis, Ku Klux Klan. Who started Ku Klux Klan? They did. Yet they point the finger at us. This is one of the things that Saul Alinsky, I think he had like 20-point plans to basically destroy America and go communist completely. All right. So the Democrats are completely on board. That's their calling card. So Saul Alinsky. Point plan. It's 13 rules, of course. 13. Lucky 13, not. All right. 13 rules for radicals. And Hillary Clinton claimed that he's the guy that trained her. And she's just like, and also Obama and all these people. And then there was like the Klan leader from West Virginia. Who's that guy? West Virginia senator. West Virginia senator, Klan leader. Probably won't come up because they'll say, oh, he wasn't a Klan leader. All right. Former U.S. Senator Robert C. Byrd of West Virginia was a member of the Ku Klux Klan, Democrat, during the 1940s, an affiliation he later called the greatest mistake I ever made. Yeah, he definitely got out of that, right? Right. So Hillary Clinton said he was one of the greatest influencers of her life. Ku Klux Klan guy, right? Saul Alinsky, same thing. They said the same thing about Saul Alinsky. So Saul Alinsky said was a left-wing activist in the 1960s and 70s whose community organizing was influential to subsequent political agitators, including Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Let me show you. Let me show you. I'm just not just pulling out my booty. Right there. Saul Alinsky. Rules for radicals. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. influential. What are these 13 rules? Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. Power is derived from two main sources, money and people. Have-nots must build power from flesh and blood. Never go outside the expertise of your people. It results in confusion, fear, and retreat. Feeling secure adds to the backbone of anyone. Whenever possible, go outside the expertise of the enemy. Look for ways to increase security, anxiety, and uncertainty. Insecurity, anxiety, and uncertainty. So, sound like something that maybe happened during COVID from the Democrats pushing that? Look for ways to increase insecurity, anxiety, and uncertainty. Make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. So the Constitution, which they have torn down massively, if we really did, look up to that, we would be free of them. But they have come in with the Supreme Court and their lawyers and judges, and so their lawyers and judges, and they've manipulated the Constitution, the rules. If the rule is that every letter gets a reply, send 30,000 letters. You can kill them with this one because no one can possibly obey all of their own rules. Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. There is no defense. It's irrational. It's infuriating. It also works as a key pressure point to force the enemy into concessions. A good tactic is one your people enjoy. They'll keep doing it without urging and come back to do more. They're doing their thing and will even suggest better ones. Let's march on the White House while Trump is in the White House. Right? A tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag. Keep the pressure on, never let up. Keep trying new things to keep the opposition off balance. As the opposition masters one approach, hit them from the flank with something new. The threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. COVID. The threat, COVID, is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. So building on COVID is what they used to basically control us around the world. Imagination and ego can dream up many more consequences than any activist. The major premise for tactics is the development of operations that will maintain a constant pressure upon the opposition. This is the Democrats constantly pushing, just like they're doing right now in their lamestream media, saying it's all Republicans' fault that we're in this no money for the government. So they're going to continually put pressure on, right? We have to do the opposite back on them. We have to put more pressure on them than they put on us. Otherwise, we lose. It is this unceasing pressure that results in the reactions from the opposition that are essential for the success of the campaign. If you push a negative hard enough, it will push through and become a positive. COVID vaccine. Now they're trying to do the same thing with this government lockdown. Push a negative hard enough, it will push through and become a positive. All right. I think it's a positive because we're going to destroy a lot of their, a lot of things that they've been, coming in with the government. So let them play this game. Counter them. It's like masterful kung fu. You let them come at you with energy, and you take that energy and you deflect it. Right? You make them flip and fall and smash their faces and so forth. Right? The price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. Never let the enemy score points because you're caught without a solution to the problem. Pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. Cut off the support network and isolate the target from sympathy. Kind of what they're trying to do with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. Go after people and not institutions. People hurt faster than institutions. All right. All right. Do you think conservatives could use these tactics? Certainly, ridicule has become popular on the right as well as the left. I would say conservative radicals, defined as conservatives who have no other controlling principles, such as religious faith, could use them. But that Christians, for example, would have a problem with them. They know that. That's why they do this Israel thing. Or at least should have a problem with them. Not only do they dehumanize the enemy as opposed to loving your enemy, they also work on the assumption that the end justifies the means, which violates Christian ethics. So again, they use the goodwill of others, Christians. What religion is the most attacked and suppressed in the world? The Christian religion, by far. And you have the Pope, who's more concerned about, I don't know, the environment than he is on the numbers of people that are being killed daily that are Christian. What a clown. What a clown, right? He's part of the deep state, obviously. And I've had on, Leo Zagami, let's talk about that. So now Leo thinks that, within the Catholic Church, the Jesuits, they far outweigh the Gazarian Mafia. They're more powerful by far. So we can focus on the Gazarian Mafia that took out Christ, that is trying to control the world from Israel right now. But really, it's the Jesuits behind the scenes that are more in control. Right? It's mind-boggling, I know. But we have to learn. And how do you get more creative? By tapping your intuition. What is your intuition? It's God's word. It's God's word coming through you, right? And informing you. All right. So I have obviously courses that help teach you that. Become the master of your own reality. They're down in the description box. And finally get at the Democrat Party and then those that control the Democrat Party. It's a lot of them, but we'll make it. We'll make it. They have a lot of people out there, and of course we know a lot of the Muslims are in on that too, guys. They've compromised the Muslims as well. All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in love vibration. And I will see you guys next time.